Hey folks, David Watts, another Luminar 2018 video. Been a lot of chatter on YouTube and other sources about a brand new feature in Luminar 2018, sunrays. I thought I'd share a little of my advice on how to leverage that filter, but how to keep it real, unless you want to go full artistic, in which case anything's possible. But a few thoughts for keeping it realistic. And you know what tends to happen is when there's a cool new feature like this, people sometimes tend to overdo it. We get a little bored of it then, but maybe there's a way to leverage it in our photos without it being so obvious, without it being so blatant, and to keep it looking very, very natural. So here's a few thoughts, and use them for whatever value they may have for you. This is a pretty average photo, just a view of a nearby state park here in Texas, and thought we could just see how we make a few quick improvements. One of the first things I'll do is crop this just a bit, not crop it so much as just straighten the horizon. I think it's always key to do that. And you'll notice this, the edge of the lake here is quite slanted. So let's do our best to make that relatively level. And it gives, I think, a more accurate perspective of the situation. All right, so pretty average, nothing too exciting, and this is really just for demonstration purposes. Let's just use the quick and awesome filter that exists. And we might use the accent AI just to bring things up a little bit. Maybe a little bit of vibrance. And maybe a little bit of clarity. And hey, it makes an improvement. A little dull there, a little brighter there. You see, especially here in the floor of the forest or the woodlands, kind of dark, murky. Now looks more vibrant. Now to that sunray filter. It's in this creative section and sunrays. And right away it'll throw sort of a sun position into your image. Let's close up this filter catalog so we have a little more screen real estate. And so one of the first questions we have, we can click here to place the sun center. We can put it anywhere we want, right? But if we place it over here, do we see any potential issues? And here's what I'd ask or suggest folks consider. Look at the direction of sunlight in this image. The tree trunks are relatively dark here. You can see a little light here on this edge and dark on this edge, clearly in this photo. In fact, you can see it a little more here too. Light and dark. Clearly, the real sun in this photo is coming from over here. I suggest that to use the sunray feature and having the sun up here would be quite contradictory. It just doesn't work with the real world. So I suggest try to represent the sun ray, or place the sun ray in a place that is somewhat natural, even almost right there off the screen. In fact, maybe we can go slightly off the screen. We can actually. We can move this. You'll notice the XY axis. Now it's back on the screen. And that may even be more appropriate to have it a little bit off the screen like that. And then you can see the sun rays passing through, and it blends, I think, with the reality. So some other things we can change. The amount here, it's pretty limited. We can beef this up much stronger. You'll have to use your judgment on that. The look will sort of give a sense of how much power, if you will, the sun rays have. The number of rays, you know, sort of 2 or 3 feels a little artificially minimal, but a few more might help. The length of the rays. And do bear in mind that, in fact, let me illustrate this better. By having it off the screen just a bit, we're obviously losing some of the rays, but maybe there's a better spot, like right about there perhaps. And then maybe we bring the number of them down just a bit, sort of would represent the filtering of the sun through the leaves of the tree, and we even have some that are golden up here. We can play with the length of the rays. That looks rather artificial, but this would be perhaps a bit more realistic. You have some golden areas here anyway where the sun, the real sun, seemed to be hitting. So that makes a little bit of sense. We can do something with warmth. That looks a little artificial, but maybe there's something in the middle here that looks about right. If it was more pure white, that doesn't quite fit in my judgment. So we're trying to keep it realistic. We don't have to worry in this case so much about the radius of the sun or the glow radius or the amount or necessarily the warmth, because we almost have the sun positioned out of the photo. And then penetration, literally how far are these rays penetrating and how strongly are they penetrating into the image. And I think, again, something realistic is useful. And you might try something with the randomize function here just to add maybe a touch more realism. So I think my suggestion is that this may work best when we use it to supplement an image and enhance the realism and not diminish the realism by looking too artificial. And again, I'm playing with it just a bit more to get that, what I think might be the perfect balance. So we started with, by the way, you notice I was trying to click up here to show you what it looked like before we started messing around, and it wasn't working. Well, it's because once you click place sun center, you need to hit enter. Or maybe you can click here again. Let's check that. Yep, to actually place it. Now the rest of the controls will work. So here's a rather plain looking image, crooked horizon. And we did actually fix the horizon, didn't we? I sure thought we did. Let's check again and make sure. Maybe for some reason no, we did fix that. So in any case, that's right. When you do the sort of before and after, it won't show you the original crooked horizon, because that would be a little disjointed to flip the screen back and forth. But a rather plain image and an improved image, more realistic. Now maybe one other thing you could do, notice we're operating within our base layer, the image itself, the raw file. This is from a Fuji camera, and saturation and vibrance. But there's nothing that stops us from adding another layer, a new adjustment layer. And let's do something here with brilliance and warmth. Now, if you've seen in my previous videos or if you've seen other folks' videos, when we first apply this, we'll sort of be applying it to the whole image. You see, it makes the whole image very warm. This makes it kind of cool. But let's think about brushing this in just a bit. Now, you can brush in each filter separately without using multiple layers, but I still like to use multiple layers for a key reason I'll show you in just a moment. So let's think that this works about right, but I don't necessarily want the whole image that warm. Now I can brush in this layer, and I can just sort of put some emphasis on the warmth over here. And maybe that works, and maybe that's helpful. The reason I kind of like to continue separate layers, even though, let me go back to the raw layer, even though each and every one of these could be brushed in separately, and that's certainly valid. But by putting this, and let me call this selective warmth, by putting this in its own layer, then I get yet another layer of fine-tuning. I can just change that opacity just a little bit more and sort of reduce that selective warmth. And it's subtle, but it gives me just one more sort of dimension to tailor this. So anyway, I come to the final product, and here's the before, and here's the after. Now you might say, it just doesn't, it feels like a little too much by way of the sunray effect. And so you can take that down and just bring that down a little bit more, go back to your top layer, and check it all again. So that's the quick advice I have. Watch for the shadows in the image and try to place the sun in a way that complements the position of the real sun. That's my advice. Hope it might help. As a reminder, I'll include a link if you want to purchase your own copy of Luminar 2018, whether it be a brand new copy or an upgrade. I'm an affiliate, so you can click on the link, and we appreciate that. That supports the videos we do here, and hope that helps a little bit. Hope you enjoy the videos. Most of all, I just hope it helps you in the work that you try to do. Thanks, and have a really great day.